When the desert sky turned into a burning grave, the world didn't just witness a crash. It witnessed the truth India tried to hide. In this fictional investigative dramatization, that hidden truth goes far beyond a single malfunction. It leads into a maze of political pressure, questionable decisions, and a defense program troubled by years of internal flaws. Sometimes a single moment exposes decades of negligence. In the blazing glory of the Dubai Airshow 2025, where the world's finest aircraft carved poetry into the sky, one jet carried the hopes of a billion people. India's indigenous Tejas fighter. Crowds cheered, cameras tracked every movement, and the aircraft climbed with dazzling precision. But within seconds, admiration turned into paralysis. A sudden tilt, a deadly drop, and then a violent explosion that ripped through the desert silence. The Tejas didn't just fall, it shattered India's image in front of the entire world. And in this dramatized investigation, many point toward the long-troubled Tejas program delays, mismanagement, internal disputes, and years of political interference that repeatedly pushed the jet toward premature public showcases. A crash is never just a crash, it's a chain of ignored warnings. As smoke twisted upward like a dark omen, investigators rushed to the scene. Eyewitness videos captured the Tejas attempting a dangerous barrel roll maneuver at a dangerously low altitude. Experts say that at such height, even the slightest loss of speed or angle becomes fatal. The moment Tejas dipped, its fate was sealed. There was no altitude to recover, no margin for error. This raises a haunting question. Why was such a risky maneuver approved, and why wasn't the pilot adequately prepared for its dangers? According to fictional insiders in this dramatization, such decisions often stem from political pressure to impress global audiences, even when engineers and test pilots advise caution. Behind every tragedy lies a truth authorities hoped would stay buried. Inside India, the anger exploded instantly. Many aviation experts, retired officers, and citizens blame the country's long-standing issue: insufficient pilot training standards and inconsistent safety culture. Critics argue that Indian pilots are often forced into risky maneuvers without the rigorous, high-budget, world-class training that top air forces receive. The crash has reopened old debates, pointing toward systemic flaws rather than a single fatal mistake. In this fictional depiction, leaked documents describe budget cuts, ignored maintenance schedules, and rushed certification approvals, all forming a pattern of institutional negligence. Negligence is not an accident, it's a habit repeated for decades. Public outrage has also turned toward the Indian government and defense establishment. Social media erupted with accusations that incompetence, budget mismanagement, and political pressure have plagued India's defense programs for years. For many Indians, Tejas did not crash alone. Years of rushed timelines, cost-cutting, and political chest-thumping crashed with it. People accuse the government of prioritizing international showmanship over pilot safety, engineering precision, and honest assessment of the aircraft's limitations. In this dramatized storyline, insiders claim that parts procurement controversies, subcontractor disputes, and politically motivated deadlines weakened the project from within. When a nation ignores warning signs, the price is always blood. Just weeks before the tragedy, videos emerged showing mysterious liquid leaking from a Tejas aircraft. Viewers described it as a fuel leak, while government agencies dismissed it as condensed water. But many critics remain deeply suspicious, arguing that poor maintenance and lack of quality control have haunted Indian aircraft for decades. From the MiG-21's notorious safety record to recent Tejas incidents, India's aviation history is scarred with crashes. Over 500 aircraft lost and more than 150 pilots gone in the last 3 decades. To the public, these are not numbers. These are reminders of government negligence. And in this fictional version, whistleblowers allege that earlier leak reports inside the program were ignored due to political pressure. To keep the aircraft image intact before the Dubai Airshow, a pilot's final seconds reveal the truth his superiors refused to see. The most heartbreaking question remains, why couldn't the pilot eject? Experts reviewing the footage say he had only a fraction of a second before impact. But critics believe deeper issues exist: inadequate emergency response training, outdated ejection protocols, and insufficient simulation drills for pilots flying high-risk performances. The tragedy has amplified debates about whether India truly prepares its pilots for edge of the Hanvola flying or merely expects them to make do with limited resources and overwhelming pressure. In this dramatized world, internal reports describe old simulators, limited training hours, and procedural shortcuts driven by political urgency. Grief turns into fury when a nation knows that death could have been prevented. Across India, emotions have reached a boiling point. People mourn the lost pilot but rage against a system they believe has failed its own warriors. Many Indians accuse their leaders of celebrating the Tejas project for political gain, while ignoring life-or-death technical issues. The crash is now seen not as an accident, but as the inevitable result of long-standing mismanagement, rushed development, and lack of world-class training standards. And fictional analysts highlight that corruption allegations, disputed contracts, and political infighting slowed critical upgrades that could have saved lives. The future of a nation's pride now hangs by a smoking thread. Now, the entire Tejas program stands at a crossroads. Instead of boosting India's defense reputation, the Dubai crash has shaken global confidence. Potential buyers are suddenly hesitant. Questions grow louder. Will Tejas rise again, rebuilt, redesigned, truly improved, or will this disaster cast a permanent shadow over India's indigenous aviation ambitions? The answer depends on the honesty of the investigation, the courage to accept flaws, and the willingness to rebuild from truth rather than pride. In this dramatized narrative, analysts warn that unless corruption, political interference, and rushed decisions are eliminated, history could repeat itself. A fallen jet, a broken nation, a truth the world can no longer ignore. Because in the end, beyond all politics, beyond all controversy, a human life was lost. A pilot trusted his aircraft, trusted his training, trusted his leaders, and paid with everything he had. His sacrifice demands answers, demands accountability, and demands change. If you want more fearless investigations, more deep dive aviation exposes, and more truth-based documentaries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and support the work that brings hidden stories into the light.